There's one more.
How's it going?
Going okay? How about you?
Going all right.
So, I believe Ryan said he was going to be here, right?
No, he has to work tonight.
Oh, so it's just you four.
Just us four.
Well, that means we can get started then. So, who wants to recap last week?
Oh dear. I got an 8.
So far, that's the high roll.
I'm not even. I was actually trying to do some of my training, Ben, so I'm not in there yet.
You're trying to do your work training?
Yeah, because
8:30 at night.
I don't have time at work to do it. It's one of those ethical issues of timekeeping. I should charge them for playing Dungeons and Dragons now, shouldn't I? I'll be on there shortly. I rolled a 12. I'll just say that.
Hey, what, Chip? I'll roll for you.
It's even better.
Well, Chip, you got a 3.
Is that good or bad?
I am safe.
That means you just do the recap from last week.
Let me think. Okay, I think I came in late, barely surviving the dragon's breath up a spiral staircase, but our lovely cleric was made an ice cube briefly, while the other two, I think, were back in another room. I think they eventually poked their head out. Numa continued to climb the stairs, not noticing no one was following him. Xavier went down to the bottom. I think all the treasure was covered in a thick ice coating, so he gave that up and came back up, saw Octavia frozen. Is that correct? And then Erevan, me and Erevan met up in the stairwell, came back down. All the time we heard those thump, thump, thumbs. And then I guess somehow we all got up into the upper courtyard where we found a bunch of dead ogres. A dragon crunching on a stone giant. Xavier went clockwise around the tower at a nice clip, whereas Octavia was at a much slower clip in the same direction. While Erevan charges the dragon, Numa, enamored by his hero, also charges the dragon. The dragon, I think we get a couple of good hits on the dragon while it's on the ground. I think Erevan does, but then it starts swooping, freezes Erevan. Luckily, Numa was smart enough not to get right next to his hero, and he got a lucky inspired strike on the dragon to stun it, causing it to crash on the ground. Tried to pummel it. Xavier hit him with a longbow shot from I don't know, 120 yards. Unbelievable. All the time convincing the big frost giant to come out and play. And he did. Calls lightning from above, kills the white dragon, and that's where we, I think, ended it.
Yep. That's pretty much it. So, this week is going to be a much more cinematic sort of thing. Sorry, trying to scarf down some dinner, too.
So are we talking like Conjunction Junction level or like Lord of the Rings level?
Probably a bit of both. Basically, we're not going to really deal with any maps right now. I just want you guys to kind of start like telling me the sorts of things you want to do now that you think you've slain all your enemies.
We know there's more enemies out there. Don't you fool us.
You know, if we hit a point where I feel like there needs to be actual dialogue, we can do that. But other than that, I kind of just want to see kind of where you guys want to go with this.
Well, I'm curious if this frost giant sees us worthy now that we slayed basically the entire castle being a dragon. I feel like we're pretty worthy to be champions, even though I didn't get involved in the fight, really. I'm still around the corner. But, you know, I'm curious if he's like, you know what? You guys are actually pretty okay. So, yeah, you guys are champions. Work out something. And then
Anyone
I guess
else?
we'll raid the dragon loot and get really cool stuff and be rich. I mean, great. I can buy as many hams.
I think we might be able to talk the frost giant into giving us the treasure.
I mean, we slay the dragon, we get the treasure. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I believe that he owes us. Yeah, I believe we could get some kind of mercenary fee out of him without having to.
I don't think he.
Oh, well then, never mind. Alluding, we will go.
But I guess we should see if the frost giants, now that the dragon kind of slaughtered all of his people, maybe he's like, look, I really don't fucking like these cultists anymore. This means war, and he'll get all of his other giant buddies, and we'll just, World War III against the giants.
All right.
Sounds good.
So you guys start kind of talking to him. He's trying to get you to explain what you did, who all you slew. He can see some of this stuff. And you get the impression he thinks you definitely could have done a lot better because this stupid wizard basically got a surprise attack in on all his ogre guards and his friends. Then the dragon did some more damage before you guys got up there and started fighting it. So he's not thoroughly impressed. He's not going to offer you a place in his army, but he's satisfied that you put up a good fight, and he's willing to basically kind of take you and drop you off wherever, and he's kind of the, if you call me, I'll probably see what I can do to help you. Yeah, I mean, he's thoroughly pissed at the cultists right now. But with you guys, you're more or less okay.
He did good.
he plans on taking the castle north to a place where he's pretty sure he can gather more giants. And he's going to spread the story of what they're trying to do. And see if he can't actually raise the army he was talking to you guys about.
Right? I'll be like, we can go anywhere in the world.
Well, before you decide on where you want to go, I'm sure there's a lot of other things to be done in this castle. So,
okay, let's go loot.
What else would you like to do?
Melt the ice on treasure. And super ham. We don't need to feed them. If we just lock them up, they'll starve eventually. Make sure the door's locked.
Along with all the other looting, yes.
That's among the looting. I'd like to explore the rest of the castle, see what's in the towers. That'd be cool, like these middle ones that we never really explored. But, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd like to run around and explore stuff. Yeah.
He's not really like standing there watching you waiting.
I mean, he's like going north, and then we'll be like, oh, hey, this is a good spot. You can drop us here. I guess.
Let me pull up the map for you. Now you know that you went through a portal from the Mirror of Dead Men. Yep. And if you talk to him, he explains that you're in the mountains north of Neverwinter. And
wasn't the Mirror Bar mentioned at some point?
No, he was in the mountains. Remember when you guys teleported to this? No, you teleported to effectively a hunting lodge, and then went to a little town.
Weren't we supposed to end up at Neverwinter? Wasn't that the end stop for all the material they were moving north? I don't remember that, right?
You don't know where it's heading, just that it's called the Well of Dragons. Okay, you did say it was south, but you have no idea where.
So yeah, I mean, if he'll let us off at Neverwinter, but are we north of Neverwinter now?
You are.
Or just let us off here. We'll walk from here. Yeah. Yeah, maybe there's a Harper's network in the Neverwinter. Sounds like a plan.
So he basically tells you that given where you've traveled so far, that you're currently a little to the south of Long Saddle, and that he's not real keen on passing over highly populated areas. It tends to draw a little too much attention. But he can find a nice remote place and set the castle down and let you guys leave, and he'll put you somewhere in the region of Long Saddle.
We will definitely have enough money to buy a cart.
Yeah, we should be able to afford that.
You also know that Octavia has ways of communicating with Leosin. So while it will be slow and sporadic communication, you can talk to him.
Yeah, the 25-word message spell or whatever it is. And yeah, I can do it like 3 times every 8 hours, so it'll be interesting.
So,
good. I think we got a plan, guys. We did it. We planned.
As you guys start going down, you kind of leave the giant to deal with whatever it is he's got left. You do notice that at least a few of the ogres are still actually alive. They had been knocked unconscious or badly injured, but they aren't actually dead. So his crew has not entirely been decimated, or actually it's been more than decimated. It hasn't been entirely annihilated. But you kind of leave him to dealing with them and trying to clean up. Erevan seems to be looking at the dragon, and he says he's got an idea. He thinks that if you could harvest the dragon's scales, that he may have a way, or surely someone would have a way of making some sort of armor out of them that he's sure would be cold resistant. And also, just as a technical note, there's a. Hang on a second. The washing machine's trying to knock itself apart. I'll be right back.
No big deal. No big deal.
Anyway, I found a cool little article that talked about how you can make the slaying of magical epic creatures more interesting and more exciting for the party. And basically,
that needs it to be done.
Well, in the afterglow of victory, you've got this massive corpse. What do you do with it? And one of the idea, or the basic idea, is that much like the WoW system, where you can disenchant things and you get stuff to use to make other stuff with, that inherently magical creatures such as dragons can be essentially rendered down for a component that allows you to make other magical things. But it basically works out that you're either rendering the thing down for its essence, which can then be used to make magic items of pretty much any kind, or you're harvesting things from it for specific purposes, and you have to do one or the other. So if you want to harvest things like the eyes, the scales, blood, those sorts of things, you can have those, and they can be used for specific things or be sold. Or you can kind of render all that stuff down for the essence of the dragon, and you get a certain number of essences that can then be used to make, based on the rarity of the item you're trying to make, it can stand in for a lot of other components. So I want to throw that out there, and we'll wait until next time when Aravan's actually here, and you guys can kind of talk that over, what you want to do with the dragon specifically. But as you do head down to where the dragon slayer was, you see it's still very cold down here. All the treasure is still covered in ice. And if you can scrap together the material for a bonfire, you could probably melt the ice over, the course of several hours. But because of where this is, the nature of the castle, the fact that all of this stuff is, that most of the castle is made of a kind of magical ice, chances of just, busting out all the treasure in a short period of time is pretty slim.
Even with judicious application of firebolt.
That can certainly help speed it up. It's still going to take you hours to do.
No time like the present. What do you mean, any of the horde? It's all of the horde.
You definitely can't carry it all, but
in shifts.
Imagine.
Yeah. It's not his horde, it's the dragon's horde.
Maybe this
actually, it was a dragon cult's horde.
Even better.
It looks like you're going to have to empty some stuff out of there. Tapestry's gone. We don't need it.
Again, it's value per pound ratio here.
As you guys are...
I guess someone only sold one for like 50 gold.
I feel like you're playing Skyrim now. Gold value to weight ratios.
It's important. It's a vital skill for an adventurer.
First, as you guys are headed down, and you're discussing your plan for getting all this treasure, Caden, is drawn back to the brief glimpses of all the papers and books and everything that were left behind in the mage's quarters that he was starting to look over when he was so cruelly interrupted by all the cultists who attacked you. It's almost like he feels compelled to go inspect them again.
Caden is torn between looting and looting.
Well, you can come at Caden, and I can go down, and I will start melting the ice, seeing as I don't have very strong spells right now, which will take me a while, so you won't be missing anything.
An excellent point.
And what spells are you going to be using?
Well, I will use my last first level spell, Detect Magic, so we can locate exactly which ones. And then either way. And then I'm going to use, just my cantrips of flame. Cantrip fire. Where did it go? I'm going to build a fire, okay, and melt the ice slowly. Yeah, detect magic so we can figure out which ones are exactly. And then...
And which cantrip were you going to use?
Yeah, that's sad. I really thought I guess Sacred Flame. That's fiery.
Yeah, but it doesn't give off any heat.
Wow. Okay, well, I'm just going to build a little bonfire then, because apparently I'm useless as a fire person. Sad. I'm going to chip away at it with my mace, okay?
I can heat up to, a certain amount of material.
I'm going to build one of my
elemental
famous
attunement
fog burning fires. Use a torch. I will use a torch next to it. Oh, jeez. Well, you know what? I'll start with detect magic, and then we'll see what happens from there, okay? I don't have any first level spells. Oh, well, okay, well, I have one first. Okay, I will use Burning Hands. Oh, no, actually, I can use a spear, because that one will last longer, I think. And stop ruining my ideas.
Anyway, so as they're still debating that, Caden, what are you doing?
Going back to investigate those papers.
That's a fine decision you've just made. So roll me an investigate check. Very nice, very nice. So, as you head down there and return to the scene of the chaos and destruction that was your battle with the wizards, you see that it is full of books and scrolls, reading places, most of it now overturned and scattered. But, by and large, the writings seem to be mostly intact. So you start looking around trying to find out what these people were doing here, who they are, what they're trying to accomplish. And actually, what do you guys know of what they're trying to accomplish so far?
So overall, it seems to be some sort of plot to summon/resurrect Tiamat. There's various factions that are fighting each other for influence, but otherwise working towards a common goal. It seems to be a competition for who contributes the most, that kind of thing. What the Red Wizards, whether they're part of it or just like mercenaries almost, or taking advantage of it, that's not clear.
So, As you start looking through there, you see that most of the information that is in the room, as the scrolls, the books, are in one distinctive handwriting. Some seem to be in another handwriting, and one of those pages is a letter that was addressed from Asbar, and it was to be sent to someone. The name doesn't really mean anything to you, and it seems to deal with just some other business he had, and was being forced to leave while he was traveling all this way with the cultist wagons. The rest of the papers and the books and things seem to have been done by another hand, and you find several letters addressed to Wrath Modar. And the letters seem to make it pretty clear that he is someone of real influence within the community of the Red Wizards of Thay. And make me an intelligence or history check, or an arcana check, whichever one is.
Arcana would be the same.
Okay. So you know that the Red Wizards have a very bad reputation. You know that they are ruled over by a lich, and that most of the powerful members of the Red Wizards fall into one of two camps. Either those who happily serve under the lich, and those who are constantly vying for power and would take over if they could. Most of them fall into the second camp, because with any powerful wizard, they tend to see things as their way and then the wrong way. So, you don't know what Wrath is exactly getting involved in, but you do make the assumption that whatever he's doing is somehow either to support the Red Wizards in general, or to give him some sort of advantage over the rest. And given the propensity of most Red Wizards, it's probably he's trying to gain some advantage by working with these cultists. You also find several books that deal with complicated rituals, different types of summonings, bindings, planar bindings, summonings of elementals, summoning of spirits, the undead, all those kinds of things. And there's one notebook written in what you've now come to recognize as Wrath Modar's handwriting that has a lot of particular notes about, how he could take this one aspect of this kind of summoning and add it to this aspect of a different kind of summoning and use it for this ritual that he's preparing. And you figure out that Wrath is somehow the central figure in the summoning the release of Tiamat from her prison in the Nine Hells. And as you're pulling all these references together, and at this point it's taking you well over an hour to pull these things together and scan through them and just see what you're finding and start piecing this together, you find another book, and immediately, like, your mind latches onto it. It is something you remember from your earliest memories. And why don't you describe your mother's spell book and what it looks like?
All right. I assume that's not something I wrote down before.
I don't believe so.
All right, let's see. It's a large leather-bound tome with very fine parchment pages. It's got several symbols covering the front of various magical symbols, nothing specific.
So as you see this book lying there, you immediately recognize it as your mother's spell book. You know, you remember the day she was murdered. And though you didn't recognize him when you first saw him, you can now see the face of a much younger man who killed your mother, stole her spellbook, and you realize, as you had believed before, that the figure now being addressed as Wrath Modar is the man responsible for all the destruction and loss that you've suffered. And you never really got a chance to look into your mother's spellbook. You knew she had it. You knew it was very important to her, but you were too young to really know what was in it. And so as you start to flip through the pages, what you find are extensive notes and research being done on the summoning of spirits, summoning essentially being able to talk with the dead, to gain information from them, to bind their spirits in ways that trying to replicate in an arcane setting the type of holy magics that are done when you raise people from the dead and bring their spirits back. Working on things like true resurrection, trying to understand how, with the magic available to wizards, someone could do something like that. And you can see so much of the knowledge that allowed Wrath Modar to pull these disparate pieces of these different kinds of bindings and summonings and rituals into a more coherent ritual of almost godly resurrection. The base of it, he stole from your mother's spellbook. He took her learnings, her hard work, her years of study, and used it as a key. As you continue, well, first, what do you do with your mother's book?
Caden's just gonna sit there for a while, holding it, looking through it, and just sort of not quite believing the fact that he's made any sort of progress. And then he's going to very, very carefully close it and wrap it up and put it as securely deep in his backpack as he can, so it's not going anywhere.
Okay. So you secure it as best you can. You've still got several books, and you haven't really finished reading the notebook that you found. You want to continue searching this room, or do you want to do something else?
Once he recovers, he'll keep going through all this information, trying to figure out best ways to screw over Rathmudar.
Okay. So as you continue reading through the notebook that seems to have been done entirely in his hand, you find further and further, the further you get into the book, the more he starts laying out plans for this very complex ritual. And you find letters stuffed in the book, folded and placed in the book at various places. And they are letters from someone who is giving him not instructions per se, but kind of communicating as an equal and talking about the collection and the use of the 5 dragon masks to form the focus and receptacle of the ritual. He talks about, some of these letters talk about the holders of the masks. And some of the names are familiar. Currently trying to find the list of names that we talked about before. So I can
so familiar you don't even need to mention them.
Yeah.
They go without saying.
But eventually you get to one of them that is signed. And it is signed by, just as soon as I find him, Severin. And he says that he holds the red dragon's mask, and that once the others can be collected and sufficient tribute for Tiamat can be gathered, that Wrath will need to conduct the ritual to raise Tiamat from the 7 hells at the Well of Dragons.
Okay.
And the descriptions of the ritual that you find in the rest of the book clearly call for essentially a mage's circle, if you will, with one, principal practitioner to guide the ritual, and 5 more magical, magic users to each help channel the power of the 5 masks into the combined form. There's reference to some sort of combined form that all 5 masks assume, and that by focusing all the energies through that, they can break the imprisonment of Tiamat. You do also see some notes about ideas he has, just in case not all the masks can be accumulated. The kind of like notes in the margins that indicate he's not sure how effective the ritual will be, but he thinks he can still pull it off. It may take longer. It may limit some abilities, but he thinks he can manage it.
So just destroying the mask we have won't do it.
You don't know for sure. You're not even sure how you could destroy the mask, or if you can destroy the mask. But yeah, it does seem like, at least this notebook would indicate Rathmodar believes he can still complete the ritual, even if not every mask is there.
Okay.
And the rest of the books, as you skim through them, seem to be more on magical theories, communications with the nine hells, rituals used to summon and bind devils and demons. Lots of different magical treatises that all seem to deal in one way or another with the manipulation of the interplanar boundaries. So you think you've got a good handle on what Wrath's part in the cult story is. You're not sure what the cult's part in Wrath's story is.
Okay.
That's pretty much all you find. I'll say that took you the better part of a couple of hours to pour over those books, to find your mother's spell book and look it through and over. Now, for the other part of the party. So, you guys are in the Dragon's Cave. You've climbed up on this gigantic pile of ice and treasure. What are you doing? What have you done?
I'm going to do the detect magic.
Okay.
And see which items I can see and point them out to everyone.
So again, you find, as you cast detect magic, there are several items within this hoard that are registering as magical. You can't really see. You can sort of make out one bit that's leather armor. Like you're pretty sure you can see like the upper torso, like one half of the upper torso and a shoulder piece that make up part of a suit of leather armor that is registering magic. The rest of it, you can feel it, but you can't see any individual pieces.
Okay. So I'll point out where the leather armor is, and then I'll kind of up the locations of the other one. And then I'm going to start. Originally, I will use Burning Hands on one part. One of them I can't see because I'm not interested in leather armor. But and then I'm going to start hacking away with my mace until, someone else suggests something smarter.
Okay. Yeah, so as you guys, you can take the two carts that were up there. You can find various bits of wood in different places. You pull some cloth and things from like the cultist quarters that they're not going to need anymore. Yeah, so you get a pretty good stack of stuff put together over the next couple of hours. And about the time Caden's getting done, in the wizard's room. You guys are hauling one more bed and a straw mattress down to the lower portion of the chain of the caverns, and piling it up on and around the ice-covered treasure. Black dragons are acid, yes. No. Oh, you're talking about the mask. I didn't think about the mask. I was like, why would everybody be able to breed dragon stuff? Right. No, he cannot use Dragon's Breath. Yeah, if he had Dragon's Breath, it would have a recharge instead of a short rest or long rest function. Yep. Okay. Right. I mean, by the time you get this bonfire going, it's putting out an impressive amount of heat. Basically, anywhere near the pile of treasure. So you're gonna have a hard time getting particularly close to it, but. Okay. Okay. So, what you end up with, there are several gems that slowly start working their way. As the ice begins to melt, they start coming out. And what you find are, let me see if I get this generated. You find that there are some aquamarines gems that fall out. There are some pieces of rose quartz. The rose quartz are worth 30 gold pieces each. There's 2 of them. The aquamarines, one is worth 400 gold pieces, and one is worth 500 gold pieces. Mm-hmm. There's a very nice piece of jade that's worth 80 gold pieces.
If there's any pearls or rubies, I want them.
There is a silver pearl.
Nice.
It's worth 60 gold pieces.
It's still hot.
No, it didn't get very hot. It just started oozing out. Yeah. There are a lot of coins in there. I mean, there's copious amounts of silver and copper coins, quite a few gold coins, and also several platinum coins. But if you're going to leave those there, then they can stay. Okay.
We can also take any lower denomination stuff and drop it to make room for more higher denomination coins.
Okay. Okay. Everybody make me an investigation check. No, it is not.
I screwed up. Hang on.
I'll take 20 instead.
Sorry, you can't do that. Yep, you really only rolled a 5. Even with your +7, you got outrolled by Octavia with her -1.
Haha.
I have to do one as well.
Hold on. My portent roll of not good enough. Never mind. I've got 6 and 11. That's not that great for this.
Well, there's not really a DC. It's more just who notices something first.
I do.
Right now, it is you, but... Yep. Okay. So, Octavia, you're the first one to notice that right underneath the bonfire, there's a steady stream of water that's running out due to just the heat of everything. That's kind of washing a little bit of ash out with it. And you think you see something sparkling coming like down with that sort of run of dirty water.
Ooh, I love sparkly.
So you go over and you grab it. And you find one of the largest and finest emeralds you've ever seen.
Oh, emeralds are my favorite. Not Octavia's favorite, but Amanda's favorite.
Well, this emerald is worth 1,100 gold pieces.
Oh, it's mine. Oh, it's beautiful.
At about this time, you notice that, all the heat from this bonfire is slowly having an effect on the room itself. You notice that like the main walls don't seem to be bothered.
That's good.
This magical castle seems to be more than capable of supporting a fire and not damage the walls.
That's good.
Nope, ceiling, all the walls, the ceiling, all the structure of the castle itself. But the temperature in the room is coming up. And so you start seeing a slight amount of melting going on kind of across the pile in general. Not just around the bonfire. And you also notice the bonfire is starting to run a little low. It's consumed a lot of the fuel you gave to it. So at this point, I want to get Xavier. Roll me a wisdom check. All right. So you recognize that while the temperature in the room is coming up, if you don't keep this bonfire going, it's probably going to just refreeze everything as soon as the fire dies out. So we're going to have a mini skill challenge. No, I just want each of you to come up with some item you're going to go find that you're going to throw onto this pile to make sure that it continues to burn.
Let me see that tapestry.
The notes that I no longer need.
Okay.
Plus, to make sure that Rathmodar doesn't get it back. Not that he really probably needs them anymore either.
I would like to find the cultist and throw him on the fire.
Okay, so Adam, or excuse me, Caden, since you're going to be burning all these extra notes, I'll say a roll of 5 or greater, and you help extend the bonfire for another, 30 minutes.
Just raw D20?
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, no, I'll allow you to, well, that works, but I'll allow you to use your Arcana because you can kind of help stoke the fire that way.
Well, I was like, if you just want fire, I have firebolt. Like, I got fire.
That will help some, but the bonfire itself, yeah, it still needs fuel. Okay, so there's one success. Who's next? It has to be something different. Yep. Numa, what are you doing?
I think I will. Let's see. I will go try to. Gosh, how quickly can we get upstairs? I'll go get a couple of chairs.
All right, extra furniture. Okay, so since you're running upstairs and back, I'll say an athletics or acrobatics. Actually, it'll have to be athletics. Athletics check of 10 or higher. You successfully fetch this stuff. All right.
I'm like to get chairs.
So you manage to run up and grab enough furniture and run it back down to keep the fire burning for another 30 minutes. All right. Octavia.
I recall that in the upper courtyard or lower courtyard, they had those big old arrow thingies, like giant crossbow thingamajiggers.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get the ballista, like the big old wooden arrow things that they would be shooting. Throw them on the fire.
I'll say that this is going to be essentially a strength/endurance thing. So go ahead and make me a strength check. And I'm going to say 10 or actually more like 12 or higher. Oh, there you go. So you come back, you're very tired trying to haul these things, so they're quite heavy.
They're like logs.
They are kind of like logs, yeah. So you come back with like bundles of branches, effectively, and throw them onto the fire, and you have extended the fire for another 30 minutes.
I'll probably grab a ham on one of my runs up there and throw him on the fire.
Are you actually throwing a ham on the fire?
Ah!
Okay.
You're
You're going to have to re-roll your strength check, and your DC just went up because you're throwing something like wet and moist.
Okay.
So it's going to be a 15 this time.
Ah.
You have partially quenched the flames by throwing this uncooked ham onto the fire.
What is it, guys? Guys, you don't understand. As soon as the grease gets hot, dripping from it, it'll get a lot hotter, I promise. Just give it some time.
And so that leaves Caden. No, Caden already is. That leaves Xavier. Okay, so when you run to the kitchen, you are confronted by a confused mass of kobolds who are all kind of like hiding. and the cacophony of them trying to either ask you questions or run away from you is making it very difficult to find any oils in the kitchen. So you're going to need to make a investigation check with a DC of 13.
Travel.
All right, you managed to find some effectively olive oil for cooking, and you run back downstairs and basically smash the olive oil in the midst of the fire, and it very quickly goes and intensifies the flames. So you guys have been adding enough fuel that it's going to continue to burn for another couple of hours. And effectively at this point, most of the treasure has been, most of the ice has been melted. The treasure, those parts of it that can absorb water are still very damp. But most of the water is now has run down off the treasure pile. And even if it refreezes, it's unlikely to refreeze most of the treasure. So, now you can start picking through what's there. So, who wants to start looking for what? The leather armor for Xavier. Somehow I knew you'd say that.
I think Numa will probably look for family heirlooms, maybe things with family insignia type situations on them.
Okay. So, the leather armor, you pull it out, and it looks like just a finely crafted set of leather armor. Nothing about it immediately screams like, I mean, it's magic, but there's nothing obvious about its construction that says, oh, this is what it is. Okay. So as Numa starts looking through for things that might have family crests, heirloom type items, Octavia had pointed out kind of where the various magic things were, and Octavia and Caden both at this point can still, do the ritual of detect magic and try to better locate where these things are. So assuming one of them has done that, then you start kind of digging through,
and I realized I was digging 5 feet on the wrong side this whole time. Oh.
Yep. So as you're kind of separating things out, and you get to, certain sections of the pile seem to have a lot of cloth, some fine clothing, some very fine make cloth, and none of that really has any sort of insignia. You do find several rings, very nice golden rings that seem to have family crests and those sorts of things on them. You're able to find some shields and swords that seem to have been engraved with certain crests or symbols. None of them have been pointed out as being magic. They are, generally of high quality. Pretty much, yeah. Well, I mean, you find, again, you find non-magical swords, but of fine craftsmanship. Right.
I guess I would be looking for maybe any kind of family seals that would have been near Greenest, and where my what was the town I'm from? I can't even remember where my
one with Leoston in it.
wherever our abbey was. Anyway, just Verdusk. Anywhere the families in that area that may have gotten things stolen that maybe they may want returned.
So as you're looking through, you do find a few items that have crests you seem to recognize. Like there's basically like an entire silverware set that has a little family crest on it, and you think you remember that from one of the families around Burdusk. So there's some things in there you spot.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess, Octavia, are you the one who has decided to use find or detect magic, or Caden, yes. Are you doing it?
I was doing it. You can too, I guess.
So, Octavia, as you start digging through, like there's a whole section that seems to be comprised of fine clothing.
This silk is so soft. Oh,
it's very damp at the moment, but yes, it is also soft. But there's this one piece you find that magic seems to be radiating from, like, the breast pocket of this jacket.
Ooh. I will grab the breast.
Okay. The jacket's still laying there. You have your boob.
That's my boob. It's boob. It's very soft and squishy.
So, again, if you pick up the jacket and, like, reach into the pocket, what you pull out...
Like a secret inside pocket? That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's like the jacket, like it has a pocket on the inside. It's like a men's suit coat with a little pocket.
I'm so ready. You can hide so much ham in here. What is in it?
It's not that big a pocket.
Little ham. Little ham bit.
But you pull it out and it looks like just a handkerchief. But it is radiating magic.
I'm gonna hold it up and, like, try and get it, a better look at it.
Well, it's like it's all folded up. It's basically like folded up like a nice little pocket square.
I unfold it and look at it in the light.
Okay. I think it can tell you the college is the School of Magic that it's.
Yeah.
But as you start unfolding it, you notice that it just keeps unfolding. Like this thing is becoming quite large.
Fit a whole family of hams in here.
And eventually, you've got like this strangely circular sheet of, like, it feels like silk. And it's like 6 feet in diameter.
Soft and large. I don't understand. I am just looking at it very confused, and I'm just like, looking around, seeing if anyone else is noticing, but I'm like, okay. And, unless I know, there's no one there. My computer's just so weird. Okay. Is it like made this, like my screen just like went off and on? So I was like, did I just die? We're good. So I'll look at it for a minute and kind of be confused and see if, there's anything maybe like a history check to see if I would understand what the small handkerchief, 6 foot big handkerchief thing is. And then eventually I'll just stuff it in my pocket and keep looking. Like, I'll look at this later. It'll be like, one of those magic tricks where you stick it in your pocket and you just keep going and going and going, and eventually it'll disappear.
Okay. So as you try to study it, the school of magic it seems to radiate. I guess the closest. I'm trying to remember what all the different colleges or schools are. But I think this one would probably be conjuration. I think.
I believe anything you tell me.
Yeah, look at the wizard colleges. What do we have? Because I know it's like divination, evocation. Okay, no, this would be enchantment. Yes, it's not really that. So yeah, this has some form of enchantment placed upon it. You can make me an Arcana check to see if you can sort of figure out what.
I should be great with those. My characters love Arcana. Look at that. That's right.
You literally have no idea what this is. As far as you can tell, it's a round, circular silken handkerchief.
It's beautiful. I'm going to keep it. It reminds me of something happy and soft.
Now, again, you know it's magic, and you know that Caden can identify stuff. So, it's up to you if you want to just stick it in a pocket or if you want.
With that roll, I'm not sure she does know it's magic.
I'll have him look at it later. He seems to have his hands full right now, and I want to get to getting everything we can before everything, freezes again or before the bonfire light goes out. So I want to go on to the next magical area. If I see anything shiny or particular in my way, I'll look at that too.
So you're just going to fold it back up and put it in your pocket?
In my pocket.
Okay.
Makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside.
So the next time, the next magical thing you go and look at, you notice that there's this interesting golden necklace. It's almost like a choker, except that it kind of comes to a point on each side and doesn't fully come around the throat. Looks like it's about 2 inches wide at the back. It almost looks like it should be worn as like a hair band or a headband or something. But
headband necklace, okay.
But you can tell it's a necklace.
Yes. I would like to inspect it momentarily.
And you get the feeling it has some form of transmutation magic applied to it.
And I will put it on.
Okay.
I'm just putting on all this magical shit, see what happens. I might disappear eventually.
So you put it on.
I'm going to have Caden check them out when we have a rest, but just for now, I'm just kind of keeping it on me until we have a minute, because, there's lots to dig through. We're literally standing on a pile of gold, so I'm like, oh, this is so much fun. Like shopping for free. Have a ham cooking. Life is so good right now.
Yeah, speaking of the pile of gold,
I start thinking.
As you continue to pick up the various gems, I've got a whole list of them, but basically there are in total value more than 8,000 gold pieces worth of gems.
Oh, we are going to be so rich. Loaded pocket.
See if I can actually copy this and paste it into the chat box or something. Yeah, I can. Sweet. So some of those you've already found.
No rubies and all of that?
Nope, no rubies, unfortunately.
Okay, I got the silver pearl. I'm happy. And I got a necklace and a weird handkerchief.
You also got an emerald. An emerald worth 1,100 gold pieces.
I did get the emerald. But where is that purple corundum?
The rich purple corundum?
Yes.
It's in the pile somewhere.
We will find that one. Dig, guys, dig. I can smell it. It's expensive. Ice cream truck, what are you doing? It's late. He is trying to lure children. That's not a real ice cream truck. Not 1,500.
I thought what gave you the value of it when you took it the first time. Well, give me a moment. Oh. So which one did you take? So if you took the entire tapestry, it weighs 200 pounds, and it's worth 2,500 gold pieces. Yep. Okay. As far as coins go, assuming you're going to ignore silver and copper, there are 440 platinum pieces. And 6,800 gold pieces.
We are so set.
So are the weights roughly the same for each?
I love Colt stealing from the innocent and giving to us.
Don't. Maybe this. Yeah, I think so. So basically, an equivalent gold value will have, 100 gold's worth of gold will be the same as 100 gold's worth of platinum.
So one platinum coin weighs as much as 100 gold coins?
No, platinum's only worth 10 gold.
Oh, I thought platinum was higher.
10 gold. It is. It's 1
10.
platinum for 10 gold.
So 1 platinum weighs as much as 10 gold coins.
I know it's ridiculous, but I think
So in terms of weight, there's literally no point to trying to swap stuff out then.
Let me see. The player's handbook, I'm pretty sure, has an actual coinage weight breakdown.
And I'd be just happy not to worry about that particular detail, but I suppose that could break things in some ways.
You're bringing it up.
I'm bringing it up because we had to bring it up before.
We brought it back down, though, so it's okay.
Let's see.
Disregard our last comment.
Coinage.
The weight of gold is free.
I was thinking it'd be something like the coins weigh the same, so higher denominations are more efficient.
A standard coin weighs about 1/3 of an ounce. So 50 coins weighs a pound.
Regardless of
value.
Okay. That makes more sense.
So that is the statement in the book. So 50 coins equals 1 pound. So every coin is 0.02 pounds.
And an EP is electrum?
Yep. Electrum is worth half a gold.
Well, it's laid out really confusing on the character sheet, but okay. So I'll just swap. Assuming this is accurate, as far as I know it is, I've got like 1,500 silver pieces and 260 copper pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just swap those out for gold and platinum, since I'm effectively carrying that on my person.
Okay. There's enough gold and platinum to go around that I'm not going to really worry about. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So just assume that gets divided up across the party, not in the bag.
Just the platinum would be almost 9 pounds.
Yeah, so I'll take 100 platinum and drop 100 copper pieces. Or do we want to try to just work all that out later?
Sounds like a lot of work either way.
Okay. And then I'll take 1,500 gold and drop all my silver.
Wait, so how much is silver compared to gold? How many gold?
1/10. 1 gold piece is 10 silver pieces.
Okay.
So, assuming that you're handing these things over to Caden to identify.
Yeah. Eventually, when we have a minute, I guess.
So I'll let you determine the order in which you hand them over, and I can reveal what he finds.
The necklace first, since it's more handy, I can just rip it off my neck, and then I'll give him the handkerchief.
And there's also other things that you found in the meantime.
Oh. Well, those are the only 2 magic ones you told me about.
I know, I was getting there.
Jesus.
So, everybody ready? We're also doing point math.
And I'm assuming all the gems can go in the bag to be divvied up later.
Basically, and then just assume that all the gems weigh like 0.1 pounds. No, because I didn't generate these inside the game. I used a website to generate them. Okay.
I'm trying to make sure I don't have too much weight. But yeah, you can go. I'll figure it out along the way.
So. That's right, you better get that Pokemon to the hospital.
What is it? Poke Center.
Oh, yeah, we're having a crisis here. No, sorry. No, I was watching the Pokemon episode.
So you also find a chest that is radiating several or multiple enchantment magics.
I thought Octavia already grabbed that.
Yeah, I'm telling her what she grabbed earlier.
Oh, I'm listening now. Sorry. I was like going through and trying to make sure I'm not over encumbered and cheating.
Anyway, you go and you grab this chest, and it has multiple enchantment magics that you can sense inside of it. And when you open the chest up, you see 3 different, very oddly shaped gemstones.
Ooh.
And each one is radiating a different type of magic. Or, well, they're all radiating enchantment magic, but each one is radiating that magic.
Okay. What are the magic?
They're all enchantment.
Oh.
And finally, there are a couple of reddish gemstones. They don't appear to be rubies exactly. But they're on like it's almost like they're on these little pedestal things. Kind of inside of a display case, like a small display chest. And they're very, like, triangularly shaped. And they're showing conjuration magic. That's pretty much it. There's a lot more like artwork and statues and, you know, things that are valuable but not particularly mobile and not magic. So, of the different things that you have found, Octavia, what would you like Caden to identify?
Wait, I'm going through and putting them in my inventory so I can find them all. I'm sorry. I put them all in there and I was like, wait, now I have to scrolled up and down, so now I'm trying to put them all.
Sorry, there was one more thing you found.
Okay.
A strange mask. It looks like it's fitted to go over the eyes. It's like there's almost two quartz or possibly diamonds, some sort of clear gem set like over where a person's eyes would be.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious about that one. Well, I'll give him the necklace first. Are you going to send me a link to all these on me? It's so much easier.
Darren pull them up and link them as he identifies them.
Oh, perfect. That would be so nice. I can delete these sketchy-ass words I just put in my inventory. I'm never going to remember these.
So.
Magic necklace first. Golden necklace, that half necklace, headband type thing.
Okay. So, Caden, as you start looking over this one, that's what you find.
Ooh.
Let's see. I think if I get to the party thing, I can actually.
It could be good for Numa, seeing that he almost melted down an entire room one time.
About what? What I do?
You did it twice, right? I was like, I know someone else did it too.
Including some dragon's breaths.
Cool.
So I'm going to delete that one out of my inventory. And basically, I figure as we're going through them, we can kind of give the think they belong to best. Then they can click into their inventory. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, since I did that one, it's deleted. Let's do the handkerchief I found.
Okay, well, first, we have a leather armor that was being inspected.
Oh, yes. I guess you can go first with your petty armor.
And what you find is that it is +1 leather armor.
Nice. It's not so petty, but you know.
Yep.
Worth it. It's a magical being. He's been frozen. Do it.
Okay, so that's going to Xavier. Let's see.
And are any of these, do they, okay, it says there, making sure. I asked about the attunement. Oh, good.
So next you wanted the handkerchief?
Yeah.
All right. Something tells me Lucas may have an idea what this is.
Apparently, it's something you sneeze in, clearly.
This is what Caden discovers. And basically, as he finishes the identify spell, You folded up the handkerchief and you've handed it to him, and he identifies it. And instead of explaining it to you, Caden stands up, walks a few feet away, unfolds the big handkerchief into its 6-foot diameter circular form, and spreads it out on the ground. And suddenly, you see a hole.
I like it.
And it seems to go about 10 feet down. And Caden explains that basically you can just put it on any solid surface and a hole appears. It's basically tied to its own interdimensional space. And anything you can fit in there, it's almost like a bag of holding, only it's a hole. And so if you can put it in there, you can eventually get it back out.
So it's like a hole that is like always the same hole.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So we can put all the gold. Yep.
But unlike a bag of holding, you actually have to lay it out on the floor to get whatever's in there.
Yep.
And if it's 10 feet down, you've got to climb in there and grab it and come back out. You can't just reach into the cloth and yeah.
I like that. That's so cool.
So is anything in there now?
No. It seems to be empty.
I like that.
We don't have to leave anything behind, maybe.
I know, so I was just thinking, so you just put everything in here. Oh.
Oh no, it's 6 feet in diameter, 10 feet deep.
Cubic feet.
You would have to stack it very, very carefully.
It's not even 6 cubic feet. You got to do the pi, you've got to do the radius.
Yeah, all that nonsense.
Okay, we're not mathematicians here.
Pi r square.
Pi r round.
I like that. That's pretty cool. Getting very excited. Think of all the hams we could store. Oh, this is great.
Think of all the Bugs Bunny fantasies you've ever had, and now you can do it with this portable hole.
It's gonna be so cool. I just imagined, because I didn't know it opened the same hole, but originally I was like, great, you could put that out, call the enemies over, and they fall in the hole, and you rip the hole out from underneath them, and then they're just fucking gone, and you're like, oh, that problem's taken care of, have a nice day. But then you open it, and then they come out and kill you.
You can still do that because there's also only 10 minutes worth of air inside there.
That's kind of fun. That could be very interesting. I like that idea. Then we have to get the dead bodies out eventually, and I don't know if I like that idea.
What do you want to hand him next?
The 3 magical gemstones that were in the chest.
Okay, so you hand him the chest, and Caden, one at a time. So Caden, there is a pink gemstone that's almost almost shaped like a pyramid. That's one of the ones that's in there. There is a deep red sphere. And there is a very bright blue sphere. Which one would you like to try to figure out first?
The blue one.
Blue one. All right. So as you study this and look it over, the blue sphere, it's just, I mean, did I say incandescent? It's almost incandescently blue. As you've finally finished the ritual, you realize this is something you've heard of, you've just never seen them before. It's an Ioun stone. And this is an Ioun stone of insight. The effect is that it increases your wisdom score by 2.
Forever or for like just temporary?
As long as you are attuned to it and it is effectively wearing it. Basically, when you equip it and use it, the stone orbits your head, and it grants you its power.
So are they all Ioun stones?
You kind of get the feeling they may be, but each one seems different.
All right, well, on to the next one.
Which one do you want next, the red one or the pink one?
Red one.
Red one. The deep red sphere. After you finish with it, you realize, is an Ioun stone of agility.
All right. And the last one?
The last one is an Ioun stone of fortitude.
So no Ioun stones of intelligence, huh?
Unfortunately, the 3 that you found did not include intelligence.
Not very smart of them.
Not very intelligent on their part.
Alright. What else we got?
But I need that link first.
Which link?
One for all the stones. No, I want the link because I'm sending all the links to Ryan while he's at work, so if everyone wants a particular one. Basically, like, oh, you wanted that? Well, that sucks, doesn't it? What this is for?
See, I figured that given where the party is, there are 2 characters that can fight over the agility one. There's 2 characters that can fight over the fortitude one. Really 3.
And I'll take the wisdom
and
one.
Granted, there's really only one person for the insight one. But it ends up benefiting everybody else too, so.
So the next one is the magic red gemstones that are triangular.
All right. So, what you find there, and Caden, you're actually pretty sure you recognize this from your studies. You find 2 elemental gems that will, when shattered, summon a fire elemental.
Summon and bind, or just summon?
It effectively casts the spell Conjure Elemental.
Ah, okay.
So here, I'll link the Conjure Elemental spell for you.
I've heard of mishaps with the gate spell, so or wild magic for that matter.
Yeah, this one is friendly, and it obeys your commands. However, you do need to maintain concentration. If your concentration is broken, the elemental becomes hostile to you and might attack.
My phone just died. What's at 50%? What are you doing, phone?
Okay.
So I think that's a pretty fair haul.
Oh, no, there's one more.
Oh, I guess
My mask.
I guess you do want to find out what that mask was.
Yes, I want to know what the mask is.
Well, for that, you'll have to come back next week.
No, that's not fair.
I always gotta have that cliffhanger.
No. You take the mask, you look it over, you identify it, and what you find is that it is an Eyes of the Eagle.
Oh.
So, I'm going to call it here for tonight because I've got to get up super early in the morning and drive to Niagara Falls.
Sounds like fun.
Slowly I turn.
What? Huh? What?
That's a Three Stooges reference. Sorry.
I know you're a little older than me. I didn't think you were that much older than me.
Well,
he's just more cultured.
And you lived in Middle Tennessee, too, so you only had like 3 channels growing up, right? So on Sunday mornings, you had Little Rascals and Three Stooges.
Oh, no, I don't remember that.
Well, then you must have had the Flintstones. You must have had TBS or cable or something, huh?
But next week, assuming that I'm in any condition to try to run a game on Tuesday, we will be leveling you guys up to level 8. So everyone hopefully will be prepared and excited to see what level 8 gives them. And 2, we will be distributing the magical treasures. And it seems pretty clear that since Xavier already claimed leather armor, that the Ioun Stone must be going to Numa.
Yeah, I like the. Is that the? You talking about the agility or the fortitude one?
The agility one.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, somebody may try to fight for that, but he already took his item, so.
That might be pretty awesome. Give me a 19 dexterity. Yeah.
But we will distribute all the treasure.
Cool.
And you guys can maybe communicate with Leosin for the first time in a while and see what's going on.
Cool.
I know, I'm like, wait.
Nope. I'm closing the game. Deleting everything.
Don't run forever.
Starting a new campaign.
Okay. I have pictures of everything now.
All right. So, everyone, effectively, congratulations on completing the entire book.
We did the book! Yay!
Ooh.
What does that mean? We have to go with the other book?
Yeah,
No, we're done. We're never playing again. We finished the book.
Or that, I mean, you could claim victory and just stop here.
We got the mask. We got the black mask. I mean, really, do we need anything else?
But yeah, this was effectively broken up into 2 books. The first book was the Horde of the Dragon Queen.
And we got the Horde.
And the second book is of a different title. No, actually, the Tyranny of Dragons is the name for the whole campaign.
Oh, that means there's more dragons.
Yep, it was the first one that came out for 5e. All right.
Cool.
Well, everybody, thank you.
Good night.
Thank you for being patient.
Thank you.
Safe travels.
Too.